Mr. Wilkerson, just hold on. You just need to get a prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Mayo,
Sure.
just hold on. We're gonna get a prosecutor. Mr. Wilkerson is also on Zoom.
Go ahead.
Okay, court is in session and calls number M331294, case is filed, the state of Texas versus Gerard Devereaux Mayo. Mr. Mayo, is appearing via Zoom. Now, Mr. Mayo was scheduled to appear at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m. the court bailiff called the name of Jared Mayo at the courthouse door. He did not answer. The court's bailiff also called his name a little later than that, I think around 10. Did not answer. Mr. Mayo's attorney, Mr. Marcus Wilkerson, was present in court, and Mr. Wilkerson is also appearing via Zoom. The state moved for bond forfeiture, and the court granted that bond forfeiture. And I know Mr. Mayo made an appearance on Zoom after the bond forfeiture was done, and so he's been on Zoom probably, I would say at least an hour. State, you have any, would state like to continue the bond forfeiture or not?
Well, Judge,
I've been since 9 a.m. Sure. I've had my, I was sitting in the waiting room.
waiting.
The waiting room on Zoom, that's a
Yeah.
possibility.
And then every time I had to,
I admitted some people kind of, well,
yeah, I had an alarm set up, 8:15, got up and I made sure I was on there.
yeah, well, we didn't start court at 9 because someone had
Yeah, I seen that it was like 9:30 or a little
yeah,
after
it
that.
was an emergency in the courtroom, so we
All right,
could.
Judge, state's gonna be all right with that. We're gonna ask this
Be in
individual
person.
to report by Zoom. He gets
Okay.
to come to court every time.
Okay, Mr. Mayo, the state is going to remove that, withdraw that bond forfeiture. Your case now, Mr. Wilkerson, what is your announcement?
Your Honor, if we could get one last reset in this case, I believe this will be the fourth reset, and I believe that we'll have a resolution at the next court setting. The other case that the court reset today, I believe was for October 9th. Yes, October 9th. If we could have Mr. Mayo report on that same day, that would be great.
Okay, so Mr. Mayo, your case will be reset for October 9th. You need to be here in person on that day. Thanks for being patient with us. You're free to go. Your bondsman and your attorney will be given notice of your reset dates. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. And again, Mr. Mayo, you need to be here in person in court on October 9th of 2023. You're free to go. You have a blessed day.
You too, sir. Thank you.
And Mr. Wilkerson, you're free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Okay,
That's the document I gotta take a photo.
did it, is it signed yet? Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number 334-124, case of style of state of Texas versus James Michael Evans. Mr. Evans, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Evans, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Evans, you may put your hand down. Mr. Evans, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Tom Kelly. Attorney Kelly, you waive a record in Mr. Evans' case?
In the dismissal,
Do you waive? Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the record.
we waive anything we need to.
Okay, so you're waiving the record, okay. Now, Mr. Evans, I have, let me see, did I swear you? Yeah, I swear you in. Mr. Evans, I'm gonna show you a document that is titled Motion to Forfeit. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, it is.
Now, before you signed and initialed this document, did your attorney go over this document with you? And did you understand what you read? And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
And do you want the court to grant this motion to forfeit the weapon to the Beaumont Police Department? Okay, Mr. Evans, the court is going to grant this motion to forfeit the weapon, and the state has a motion to dismiss. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, upon forfeiture of this weapon to the Beaumont Police Department, the state of Texas is dismissing this case, and I'm signing the dismissal right now. You'll be able to get a copy of this dismissal in a few seconds. Once you get a copy of the dismissal from your attorney, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session and calls number M331846. Case of style of state of Texas versus James M. Radson. Mr. Radson, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Radson, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Radson, you may put your hand down. Your full name is James M. Radson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Radson, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Rassin, you're representing your case by your attorney, Attorney Dustin Galmore, Attorney Galmore. You waive a record in Mr. Rassin's case.
Duty, Judge.
Mr. Ratson, I have before me a document that is titled Information. In this information, Mr. Ratson, it alleges that you, James M. Ratson, on or about August 5th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating the motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Ratson, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge Mr. Ratson, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, and no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ratson, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments, which is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. You recognize this document?
Yeah.
On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature, or set of initials rather, on the line next to the box is check no contendere, which means no contest.
Yes, sir.
Now, you pleaded no contest,
Yes, sir.
and you pleaded no contest in this case because you do not wish to fight or contest the charge.
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line that's titled next to the box says check no contendere, which means no contest?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, I have before me a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal, you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
And I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. Ratson, before you sign and initial these documents, did you read the documents? And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ratson, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit Number 2, which is in the court's file, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2 in the evidence?
Yes, Judge.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objections. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted into evidence. Mr. Galmore, you've advised and counseled Mr. Ratson. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
And Mr. Ratson, your attorney, Mr. Galmore, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ratson, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty or no contest, the state offers 90 days in Jefferson County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine, 60 hours of community service, and court costs.
What is the court cost? 402 in this case. Okay, Mr. Ratson, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you're required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $402. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month. You'll be required to pay your analysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County $15 for a reimbursement fee. You'll also be required to pay the DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $165 a month. Will you be able to pay the $165 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to attend and complete a DW education class. You'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment in this case. You'll also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of DWI probation. Mr. Ratson, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ratson, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Ratson, this will conclude your case. You're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
You do, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Judge,
Is that it?
actually have Michael Jackson.
On,
Announce on him.
it was on an announcement doc.
Announcement docket.
Yeah, more. Yes, Mr. Jackson. That's what we had on hold. Okay, Mr. Jackson, this is cause number M333-882, case of State of Texas versus Michael Jackson, or Michael Cole Jackson. The court had this case on hold. Mr. Galmore, what is your announcement?
Judge, we can have one more announcement date. There might be some issues with the criminal history that we're running the case. And we'd just like to make sure that we have the correct criminal history before we completely resolve the case.
State, do you have any objections?
I mean, I'll do it.
Okay, give us a reset date on Michael Jackson, October 30th or November the what? First, which one is better?
November 1st.
November 1st? Mr. Jackson, this case will be reset to November 1st of 2023. Yeah, yes,
I'm waiting to hear back, should get a word this week on a job that I placed in Oakland, California.
If that happens, you get with me and I can make arrangements.
okay, so it's November 1st, 2023. Stay in contact with your attorney, your bondman. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. Mr. Gilmore, is this your last case? Okay, I think you got something on the trial docket for tomorrow?
I have two.
Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a blessed day.
Thank you again.
You welcome.
Hey, Justin, this one planned, so. Javier's calling. We are the zone.
Okay, you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number M3276686. Case is style of state of Texas versus Sergio Eduardo Torres. Mr. Torres, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Torres, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Torres, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Torres, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Torres?
I'm fine.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Torres. I have, you are represented in this case by your attorney, Wright Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
We're waiving a record.
And you waiving a record?
Well,
Okay. You said, well, I mean,
He's doing well.
you doing well? Oh, I thought you said we waiving a record and you said, well, okay. You're answering board questions
Oh,
at the same time. Okay. Now, Mr. Torres, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Sergio Eduardo Torres, on or about July 28 of 2020, while you operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Torres, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Torres, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Torres, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment, is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials ST on the line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification to defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is the plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yeah.
I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yeah.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Torres, before you signed and initialed these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yeah.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yeah.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah.
Mr. Torres, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. And State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 in evidence?
yes, yes.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted in evidence. Mr. Kimler, you advised and counseled Mr. Torres. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None that I'm aware of.
Mr. Torres, the attorney, Mr. Kimler, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Torres, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this case?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, the state has offered 1 year deferred education, $500 fine, 60 hours community service, interlock, and court costs.
Hmm? Here's your ball. Yeah, in the car. One of the 2 balls that are part of the bill. You're not gonna get the benefit check.
Well, that's mandatory by law. Yeah, that's the law. Drug.
You only do it, I'm gonna try. You don't want to do it?
Yeah, because there's gonna be more money, that cuts money every month.
Okay.
For how long I need to have this?
The length of the probation.
Yeah,
It was 1 year deferred.
1 year.
you can go sit it out in jail if you do that, but then your license gets suspended.
Okay, the court is back on the record and calls number M327686, case of South City, Texas versus Eduardo, Sergio Eduardo Torres. Mr. Torres had previously entered a plea guilty to the charge of DWI first. He was sworn in. He acknowledged that his signatures and initials was on State's Exhibit number 1. He acknowledged that his signature was on the trial court certification of defense right of appeal, and he acknowledged that his signature was on discovery certification. Mr. Torres' attorney, Mr. Kimler, waived the record in this case. Mr. Kimler acknowledged that Mr. Torres was mentally competent to stand trial. Mr. Torres acknowledged that his attorney, Mr. Kimler, went over these documents with him. He also acknowledged that he understood everything that his attorneys went over, and that his plea of guilty in this case was freely and voluntarily given. The court is fine, will accept Mr. Torres' plea of guilty. The court finds that he is mentally competent to stand trial. The court also finds that Mr. Torres' plea was freely and voluntarily, not only freely and voluntarily given, but that the waiver in this case was intelligently and knowingly entered into. And the court finds that there is sufficient evidence to find Mr. Torres guilty. And Mr. Torres acknowledged that he is a citizen of the United States. And State, would you please state what the offer is in this case?
Yes, in exchange for Mr. Torres's offer, plea of guilty or no contest, the state has offered again 1 year deferred, interlock, $500 fine, 60 hours community service, and court costs.
And the fines?
you're doing it anyway.
That's just $500 plus court costs?
Yes.
Now he has a felony?
He just took 10 deferred on a felony.
Okay, well, then I'll explain to you. Your fees in this case gonna get reduced because you're not gonna be paying double on the felony for the probation fees and for the reimbursement fee. So that is gonna get reduced, but let's see. So what is this court cost?
$967.
$967, or is it $467 plus the $500?
Yes, sir.
467? Okay. Okay.
This kind of makes up.
Okay.
Over the term.
Okay. Now, Mr. Torres. The state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation in this case. While you're on deferred probation, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $467. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, your analysis fee of $15 each month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. You will also be required to pay DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the police. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total amount that you'll be required to pay in this case is $171. However, because you're already on probation, the probation fee and the reimbursement fee is going to be subtracted out of that 177. So in essence, you'll be paying $96 a month. But while you're on probation in this case.
So I have to pay like probation for this and probation for.
No, I didn't listen to what I said.
No.
I didn't say that.
You're paying $96 a month on this case, and the one down there, whatever it says on your.
Right. Okay. Ordinarily, you will be required to pay $171, but you won't be paying $171 because they're gonna subtract out the probation fee that you'll already be paying in the other case, $60. They're gonna take $60 off a month, and then the reimbursement fee that you're paying in that case, you won't be paying it here. So they're gonna take off another $15. So in essence, they're gonna take $75 off of the 171. They're gonna subtract that. And so that means that you will only be required to pay $96 a month instead of the $171 a month. Do you understand that?
On this case.
On this case, you're only paying $96 a month.
You're paying whatever on felony plus 96 on this case.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's see. You also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. And now, since he's doing community service in that other case, they probably
It's concurrent.
they probably gonna run them together.
Well, it's-
So you won't be doing the 60 here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you'll be required to attend
You're not
Complete-
gonna do additional community service for this. The community service over here is gonna be eaten up by the community service you have to go.
right. Now, the DWI, you also be required to attend and complete a DWI education class, have a drug and alcohol assessment, and have an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. Okay, now, Mr. Torres, you understand the state's offer?
Yeah.
Okay, do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, now, Mr. Torres, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that the state has, that you've entered into with the state. If you successfully complete this probation, this case is gonna be dismissed. It would not result in a conviction on your record, and you may get a non-disclosure. And what that means is you can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure, and he can explain that to you. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, and again, do you accept this offer? You think it's fair and just?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Torres, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Torres, you're gonna stand next to your attorney, follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Kibble, is this your last case? You're free to go as well. You have a blessed day. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number M324403. Case is filed the state of Texas versus Ruben Gutierrez. Mr. Gutierrez, is that your full name?
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Gutierrez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, you may put your hand down. Mr. Yeah, check that box. That one.
So sorry, Judge.
Now, Mr. Gutierrez, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. And let me do this here. Mr. Gutierrez, did we swear you in? Okay. And Mr. Bailey, do you waive a record in Mr. Gutierrez's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now, Mr. Gutierrez, I have before me a document that is titled Information. In this information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, it alleges that on or about July 25th, 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Gutierrez, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Gutierrez, how do you plead guilty? Not guilty, no contest.
No comment.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Mr. Gutierrez, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment, also labeled State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yeah.
And in this document, there's one box that's checked on page 1 that states that this is a Class B misdemeanor, DWI. The range of punishment is minimum 72 hours to a maximum of 1 year in the county jail, a fine from $0 to $4,000, or you could be given both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That range of punishment? I also have on this document, there's a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked no contender, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. And is this your signature?
Yes.
On the next document, it's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. Gutierrez, before you sign and initial these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibits number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2 in evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted in evidence. Mr. Bailey, you've advised and counseled Mr. Gutierrez. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
And Mr. Gutierrez, your attorney, Mr. Bailey, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, state could recommend 90 days probated for 1 year, $700 fine, 70 hours community service, all other standard terms and conditions for a regular DWI probation.
What is this court cost?
392.
$392. Mr. Gutierrez, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you'll not be required to serve any time in Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $700 plus court costs of $392. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $182 a month. Mr. Gutierrez, will you be able to pay them $182 each month? You'll also be required to perform 70 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete a DW education class. You'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this DWI probation. Mr. Gutierrez, do you understand the state's offering?
Yes.
You think that the state's offering your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer?
Yeah.
Mr. Gutierrez, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Gutierrez, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you will be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Thank you. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. And calls number M333-340 and calls number M333-340-2. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Christopher Lee Glassy. Mr. Glassy was scheduled to be in court for the court's announcement docket, which was scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date of September 11 of 2023. At or about 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called the name of Christopher Glassy at the courthouse door. Christopher Glassy did not answer. Christopher Glassy has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. The time now is 1:28 p.m. on today's date of September 11 of 2023. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Christopher Glassy at the courthouse door?
No answer, Your Honor.
Christopher Glassy's name was called at the courthouse door. Christopher Glassy did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Glassy an opportunity to appear in court. He has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
That was Waffle.
That motion will be granted and a warrant shall be issued for the arrest of Christopher Glassy in cause number M333-340-2. And this will complete the calling of the court's announcement docket, the court's trial docket, and the court's pretrial conference docket. All three dockets are scheduled this morning at 9 a.m. in County Court at Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence Holmes presiding. Everyone, please have a